All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to record, just put it in the chat. We're going to get started with head coach Jim Curtin. After his opening statement, we'll go right into questions.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. First, apologies. I think we're getting started a little late today. We had an open practice and got stuck signing autographs. I always say to my players, you know, with autographs, always sign everyone because there becomes a day in your life when no one wants your autograph. So I had to practice what I preached and a little late today. So apologies for that. Quickly on the New York City game, a really good performance from the guys. Shorthanded, down some players due to suspension and injury, and everybody stepped up in a big way and won a very important game. We've stressed to the guys, though, that game and great performance means zero if we don't follow it up with 3 points at home. So we all know that we've struggled at home this year, but we have 3 games at home the rest of the way. We at this time control our own destiny to get in the playoffs, and from there anything is possible. DC is also in very good form right now. They're organized, tough to play against, can play very direct, have the best goal scorer so far in our league in Benteke. So we have to do a great job trying to limit his service and where he gets the ball on the field. So tough game for sure, an important game, and we look forward to tomorrow.
Thanks, Jim. We can start with questions in the room.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Can you please give an update on injuries, including Andre and Danley, and if there's any others? I know it's not there.
Yeah, everyone is fully healthy and ready to go. Kai just had some tightness at the end of training. He stepped out in the last 15 minutes, but he'll be fine for the game. So we have the full selection, knock on wood, a full selection of players, minus Isaiah LaFleur, probably for the first time in maybe the whole season, which is good. No international duty, no suspended players. So we're in a good spot. Everybody is back. Danley's not 100% quite yet. Andre's probably not 100%, but they're available for selection tomorrow.
Mikel has 4 goals in 6 games versus DC. What has made him effective against them? And just in general, he seems to be having more success lately. So I'm curious as to your thoughts. What brought that about?
No, it's a good observation. Look, we go as our front 3 goes, and I say that to their face individually. I say that in front of the whole group. When those 3 are together and pressing and are close to each other when we have the ball, close to each other when we defend, it's no coincidence the goals start to go in. If you go back and watch our goals versus New York City, I said it to them jokingly, but they're within 5 yards of each other almost in every play that we score. That's a big starting point for Mikel. If you think of the start of the game, the early goals Mikel has scored, that means his mentality is right. He's willing to do everything for the team defensively, and that leads to the chance creation. So he's finished off some tough goals to score as well, and really set the tone in the first 15 minutes of games for us. So we hope that can continue now. And again, when he gets hot, he's a real handful, and hopefully he stays that way the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
All right, we can switch to Zoom. Matt DeGeorge.
Hey, Jim, you mentioned this briefly, but I believe you guys have scored first in 6 of 7 games, which was conceding first was a real issue early in the season.
Yeah.
Anything that goes into the adjustment to make that happen? Is it just a matter of intensity? Is it anything tactically that you think you guys are doing well?
Yeah, I think it's intensity, Matt. We've been on the road a lot, where if you don't start in the first 15 minutes, because you're going to get the opponent's best punch in that first 15, you better be able to stand up to it and punch back. And I think that we've done that more consistently in this stage of the season, probably starting just before Leagues Cup. We started to look like ourselves. And when you score first, the data shows, I mean, in every league in the world, it makes other teams have to adjust. They have to throw numbers forward. Their plan changes and maybe goes out the window. And that's when we're at our best. Where we struggle, as you know, Matt, is when teams counter us, get the first goal, and then we have to open up and change the way we play. And then, we're chasing the game from there. And we're not really built to chase games. So I think our players understand that. They've had a great response in the beginning of all the games that we've mentioned now here, against really good opponents too. That needs to be said as well. So I think our guys have raised their level against really good teams. And we have to do the same tomorrow because DC's playing really well too.
Is there something to the road component of that, starting fast on the road and trying to knowing you've talked a lot about how this team has been really good with its back against the wall, that's probably more palpable in road games. And is there
Sure.
something about that approach in road games that you think can be now transferred to when you have two very big home games coming up?
Yeah, the important thing is to take the confidence that we had in those games and those performances, even the Miami performance, and let's bring that to this stadium. There's no doubt about it that there is more pressure at home to the team that is the home team because you have to make the game, and that's on us to improve and finish strong down the rest of the season. The good thing, Matt, is people only remember how you finish. So we had a lot of horrible results at home this season that were unacceptable. I've said that and we've rehashed it a ton. But how you finish is what people remember. So again, let's go out tomorrow against DC. Let's be us, be the best version of us. They might still even score first, but let's have the right reaction, get the ball out of the back of the net and go again. That needs to be our mentality and our mindset. Take that confidence that we had on the road and bring it back to home. Because we've had some good home performances as well in the recent weeks too. But it just needs to be a little more consistent at home.
Jonathan?
Thanks, Nico. Jim, a little bit to that point. This team hasn't been in a race just to make the playoffs in years. And it hasn't been in a race where its own fate could come down to the final day in 8, which means a lot of these players have never been through something quite like this before, even though you have as a coach. How do you coach that as opposed to you're in 4th for 2 months,
Right. Yeah. I'll start by saying I don't want to ever do it again. Where you're chasing at the end of the year and you become dependent on other results. I prefer to obviously be in the situation we've been in the last 5 years where we're fighting for 1 through 4. So again, it is a different type of pressure. There's still expectations too when you're up towards the top to get and secure that top spot to fight for supporter shield, whatever it might be. The pressure is certainly different at the bottom because there's a lot of teams going that still think they have a chance at the bottom too, and that will fade now in the coming weeks, and probably 3 games from now there'll be some that are eliminated. And the mindset is don't be one of those teams. So we still control our own destiny, as crazy as that sounds, and what's been a tough season. But it certainly is different preparing the guys to play for these types of games where we're just trying to get in. And when you get in, as you know, anything can happen. But I prefer to be fighting for the top spot. This is our reality, though, and we put ourselves in a hole at the beginning of the year. We've played some good soccer recently, and that needs to continue in the final stages here in the final 5 games.
Kyle?
Hey, Jim. After the NYCFC game, you had mentioned it was almost a near perfect performance. I'm curious, as a coach, in your mind, what is the perfect performance, especially for this team?
Clean sheet, it starts with. I like to keep zeros. Again, there'll never be a perfect game because there's always something you can do and improve in the sport. That's what makes it's so great. So you're never perfect on a 90-minute game. There's always mistakes that you can clean up. But when this group's going well, we win the with the ball phase of the game. We win without the ball, the defensive phase. We win offensive transitions, defensive transitions, and then attacking and defending restarts. So if you think about the New York City game, we were close on all those, but we still conceded that goal before half. That's why I said almost perfect. We had some really good transition moments. We scored a good restart. We showed some good goalkeeping, good defending. All phases of the game I thought were solid. But there is, I guess, no such thing as the perfect game.
Thanks, Jim.
And final question, go to Jonathan.
Thanks. Thanks, Nico. I'm going to try to ask again the question, Jim, that I think I asked a couple of days ago on my internet hit the dust right in the middle of one of these things, and the question got lost. A couple of games ago, Quinn Sullivan played late on the left 8 spot instead of on the right 8 spot. And he's been a left winger before with the national teams. And Jack McGlynn's also played as the right 8 for you guys, but not in a while. And he seemed to be pretty good at it, even though he's left-footed.
Mm-hmm.
How much thought do you give to those 2 moves again, since both those guys can play either side and maybe vary things up?
Yeah, look, I liked it against Miami when Quinn went over there. That was a particular, just a matchup in the game that we thought maybe we could get him at. Their right back at the time. If you think about it, Quinn can cut in on his right foot to shoot, right? It's natural. And that's one of his real strengths, to cut in on that right foot to shoot. Whereas Jack McGlynn gets to cut in on his left foot on the right side of the diamond to pass, which is his biggest strength. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense for sure. It's something that, I think both players can adjust and adapt to. You could see it in the future for sure. And yeah, a good observation of the strengths of a player. You think of Quinn running at defenders, cutting in on his right, shooting with that right foot. You think of Jack now when he cuts into his left, into the center of the field. There's a lot more area to pass through the lines and play long balls, which suits his skill set too. So yeah, something that you could see down the road, and two positions where we're comfortable putting them in. So their versatility helps them for sure.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone.
It'll help